Everyone, make sure you get, Sean, will you grab another blanket and block?
Yes.
Make sure everyone has a blanket and a block this morning. And then if there's other props that really serve you, like if you love a sandbag at the end or an eye bag, it is bright, you could grab all of that out there. Oh yeah, just a blanket and a block. But if you like sandbags, eye bags, all that good stuff, you're totally welcome to grab that. Oh, Kate is here. All right.
We'll party on.
We're gonna, actually, you know what, y'all, we can fit one more person in the back here. Shelley, I'm gonna move you closer to Jenny.
Yes.
And Jenny, you can move a little closer to, yeah, you can go either direction.
Yeah, sure. Friends.
Nice. You too. I don't know about you next to each other.
To tell. This scenario wouldn't happen if you had Texas wind gusts as call and see it.
So before we start, I want to tell you about a couple things. I don't know if you guys know this, but we have a world-renowned sound healer who lives in Iowa. Her name is Natalie Brown. She's truly amazing. Like, she teaches all over the world. And she lives like right an hour down the road. And she comes and does quarterly sound healings at Heartland. She's never done one of these. It's like a kind of an otherworldly experience. She sets up here at the front of the studio tons of instruments. And sometimes you feel like there has to be 5 people up there playing things. You're like, how is she doing all of this? But she's really amazing. And she's here on Sunday night. So if that's something you want to try out, come join. And then she brought in a world famous sound healer named Three Trees. And they were here this last week on Valentine's Day. Mind blowing as well. And so they're on a tour and they're gonna come back around in 5 weeks. So pay attention to that. It's he's a shamanic healer plus a sound healer. So it was like this whole journey that happened. I brought my 18-year-old son and we got done. I was like, how was that? And he goes, I don't know what just happened, but that was cool. So if that's something you're curious about, watch for that. Yeah, 18-year-old boy thought it was cool. I know that says something. Although Peter is a different sort. So and then Yoga for the Mind, it's this course that I start this Monday night if anyone wants to join. It's like the integration of my 2 loves, psychology. I have many loves in my life. My 2 professional loves, psychology and yoga. And it's deep dive into the 5 layers of our being. So that's starting on Monday if anyone wants to join. And today we're in the 5th class of a series on yoga for mental well-being. And today we're talking about bliss. And that's why y'all showed up, I'm sure. Like, the class is not usually this full on Saturday mornings, but y'all, like, the Batman signal went out that we're working with bliss today. So I'm going to teach you the mudra of bliss, and then we're going to sit for a couple minutes and then we'll unpack what this all means. Essentially, the Vedic tradition talks about that the real purpose of yoga is Sat Chit Ananda. And Ananda means bliss. It's an awakening to our inner bliss. And oftentimes we don't feel very blissful because life is hard and there's a lot of crap that happens in life. And so it's like the practices are helping us remember that that's in us. And yes, we forget a lot, and that's why we have to keep practicing to come back around to the truth of who we are. So the mudra for bliss, this would be actually a really good one to remember, is pointer, middle, ring, thumb touches those, and then that little pinky finger goes out to the side. This is the gesture. It's called the gesture of the inner smile. And it's designed to sort of help us open to this essential nature within us. So you can drop your hands, palms face up on your lap. And if you feel your fingers, this is not, a typical posture you probably make with your hands. Really try to just let the hands relax. Let the hands be nice and soft as they hold this gesture. Take a nice deep breath in, and then as you exhale, just start to drop your attention in. Feel free to allow the torso to move, maybe rock a little bit. Allow the face to soften. The jaw relax. This actual mudra is, so when we work with mudra, we work with subtle energy. It's thought to help release tension from the jaw. So if you tend to hold tension in the jaw, this is a good mudra. This gesture is also called the gesture of the inner smile. And so maybe without even needing to change your face or actually create a literal smile, you might just feel an inner smile. Often we can translate that as more of a lightness of being. So move into a couple more conscious breaths. So breathing deeply down into the belly. And as you exhale, feel or imagine that you're starting to blow out and release that which is blocking this innate nature we all have that's more bliss, joy, contentment. And as you continue to hold this gesture, the gesture of the inner smile, let's watch how there is some lightness that starts to be cultivated already. Follow one more conscious breath in and conscious breath out as you exhale and feel sort of a releasing, letting go, surrendering. And then gently bring your hands together so the palms touch. It's a different mudra. Right in front of the heart, thumbs touching the sternum. And feel your sternum lift towards your thumbs, a nice lengthening up through the spine. With their hands together in front of the heart, it's a really powerful time to set intention. I always encourage students, find one word that might encapsulate what you want to experience, feel, practice toward. It could just be something as simple as peace. It might be bliss. It might be openness. It might be release. It might be clarity. It can be helpful to anchor into, what you hope to experience or receive from the fruits of the practice. And then we'll join our voices as we together chant the sound Om, 3 syllables here, ah, oo, and I encourage you to not only feel the vibration of the chanting, but see if you can open your ears a little more this morning and listen into the collective sound. So instead of just focusing in on your sound, notice how it blends with the collective. All right, let's take a breath in and a full breath out. Empty it all the way out. Blow out every bit of air in those lungs, and even pause for a moment in emptiness and then breathe in to chant. Breathe in, breathe out as you bow towards your hands and your heart. Beautiful. Slowly release your hands, lift your head and open your eyes. All right, let's start by just extending the legs straight. So extend the legs nice and straight and just bounce the knees a couple times. So let your knees bounce a little bit. You can stay seated on a blanket if you're on a blanket, or you can be flat on the mat, whatever feels. If you're up on a bolster, you might want to come down off of that much height. Recross the legs and just begin to make some circles here with your torso. I encourage you to close your eyes. You might move really slow. Find a rhythm. Some people like to work with their breath here. So you might feel the inhale as you fold forward. You might feel the exhale as you come around the back of the circle. But your breath could do whatever it wants here as well. Just getting a little bit of flow. The yogis say that we reach or touch into this bliss by moving first through the body and the breath, quieting the mind. That's when we finally can tap into this more natural state. So we are going to anchor very deeply into the body and the breath today. Switch it up. So if you've been working your circles one direction, switch it up and move the other direction. As we're circling here, we're opening up energy in the lower spine. As you fold forward, there's a subtle sort of massaging of your internal organs, which can help digestion. And then the next time you rotate forward, start to walk your hands forward. Start to walk your hands forward. Does not matter how far you go. We're all going to find a constriction point, which could come in inner groins. It could come low back. It could come shoulders. So you go to a place where you're feeling sensation and you drop into the sensation. See if you can anchor into the quality, the feeling. And then what's really powerful is when you start to realize how your breath can change the sensation. So if you fold deep enough, you're going to have a lot of sensation. And you feel that sensation, and then you notice, I can actually send breath into that intensity. And then on the exhale, I might be able to actually soften, settle a little bit deeper, calm my mind. Yogis know that we actually don't calm our mind by telling it to be calm. We actually get out of the mind and anchor more into body, breath, present moment. So that's why in this practice, I'm going to keep bringing you back over and over and over and over to your body, to sensation. And as I keep you here, your mind will start to get louder as the sensation builds, the boredom might come in. And our work in this next hour is to not indulge our mind or follow the stories of our mind, but rather notice when the mind gets really chatty and loud, and then choose to drop back into your body and the sensation that's there, or your breath. So I can already hear so many of you working with that ujjayi breath, that ocean sounding breath. It will be your anchor point for this whole practice. All right, on an inhale, come out, but watch the sensation change. Watch maybe even a little relief start to flood in as you release the intensity. Sit back in the center, once again, with that Hansi Mudra, thumb to the pointer, middle ring, pinky fingers out to the side. And we just sit for a moment and we observe. We shift all kinds of energy in this practice. So I like to always give moments for you to sink in and actually feel what's going on. Now from this tall spine, let your weight settle over your sit bones. As you feel your sit bones anchor down, lengthen up so as you get rooted, rise up through the crown of your head. If your eyes are closed, let them blink open and take your right hand off to the side as you extend your left arm up. So we're going to lean over to the right. You're bending into that right elbow as we begin to stretch and open the left side of the body. So as you're leaning to the right, see how much you can get that left sit bone to anchor down a little more. And then if this feels okay to you, you can add just a little subtle twist. It's like your navel, your belly's trying to twist up to the left. Make sure that your head is staying in alignment with the spine rather than dropping all the way down. That'll create undue tension there. And then wait for your in-breath. Let that in-breath float you all the way back up to center. And then we go the other direction. Left hand comes down, bend into that left elbow, stretch into that right side. In our practice today, we're opening our side bodies and our heart. This is sort of the practices we need as we transition to more light towards spring. It's naturally what our body sort of is calling towards. All right, inhale, come back to center, both arms up. And release those sit bones down, lengthen up, take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, W arms. We're gonna see these a lot today. Pull elbows down, lift sternum up. Inhale, stretch up. Good, exhale, pull those elbows down. Do 2 more of these. Inhale, stretch up. As you exhale, you're rooting your elbows down, pulling your shoulder blades together on your back. Lift that sternum a little bit. 1 more. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Release hands back down. Hansi Mudra, thumb to pointer, middle finger. Just pause, let yourself adjust and feel. Notice where things are lightening up in the body. Notice where the sensation is building. And then from here, keeping this sort of inner focus that we're already beginning to cultivate, come forward onto all fours. So roll forward onto all fours. I personally like a blanket under my knees. My knees need all the love they can get, but if your knees are fine, you certainly don't have to do it. But as you come to all fours, we move now into that nonlinear movement sequence where we just close the eyes, we let the body move. There's no rules here. I guess the only rule would be just try to keep moving the whole time. And sort of keep the flow going here. Certain times in our life where we are more connected to inner bliss. So it could even behoove you to let your mind float to periods of life where there was just more of an innate ease. Ananda, Chit Ananda, remembrance of our bliss. Bliss isn't necessarily happiness, which can be somewhat dependent on situation. It's deeper than that. So as you're moving, and encourage you in this last minute to bring extra attention to where things feel tightest or most constricted. Yeah, use that breath. Don't be, don't hold back the breath, right? Like if you need to sigh, if you need to make sound, if you need to work with that big open mouth ujjayi, do it. That also gives people around you permission to do it. Breath helps us move out that which is stuck. And the more stuck energy we move out, typically, the more sort of freedom we begin to feel in ourselves. If you're ready, take this into an exploratory down dog. So work your way into down dog and move around in down dog, shaking out the hips, the face, the jaw, the lips. So take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, a collective ah. Ah is really good for our nervous systems. Let's do another one. It sort of regulates our nervous system. Big ah. Beautiful. Inhale as you exhale, lower the knees down to the mat. Come back to all fours. Come back to tabletop. Wrists are underneath shoulders. Take 5 big circles with your hips clockwise. Really trying to set up some more freedom in the pelvis and the hips. And then switch it up and go the other direction. And then come back to center and just let yourself pause here in relative stillness. From here, send your left leg straight back. So left leg extended back, toes of the left foot spread, belly is drawing up. Extend your opposite arm forward. So we have this nice big line working sort of cross laterally here. Extend your left heel back, right fingers forward. And then maybe bend your left knee, swing your hand around and grab for the foot. Maybe. Knee lifts up a little higher, and there's a bit of a twist of the belly. I'm going to take a breath in, return right foot or right hand to the floor. Take your right toes over to the right and drop this left foot down to the floor. So now big side stretch up the left side of the body. Yeah, extend that arm up. As you root your back foot down, get it really anchored down. Notice some twisting of the torso, of the pelvis, the heart, the sternum, up towards the sky, and maybe even lean back a little bit. Let your heart open a little more. Oh, take a nice deep breath in, big ah. Good, and then come out to all fours. We're gonna just try to see how good we can feel today, right? Isn't it so interesting that we very much subconsciously sometimes limit how good we can feel? Reminds me of our time in Ireland when we talked about the upper limit, right? There's no upper limit. We like place this upper limit around how good things can be. There's a great book on that, by the way. All right, let's do second side. Take the right foot back, right leg back. Okay, before you extend that opposite arm forward, get very conscious of your pelvis and your navel. Draw your navel towards your spine. That's going to allow your neutral or pelvis to be more neutral. And then extend your left arm forward. So feel that nice stretch of right leg back, left arm forward, and then maybe add that little twist where you bend the back knee, swing your hand around to find the foot. If you find the foot, kick the foot into the hand, lift the knee a little higher, and then see about that belly rotating up to the left. Now, without dropping your back foot to the floor, release the hand. Left hand comes to the floor. extend that right leg long and then drop it to the floor behind you. So big side stretch up your right side. Feel the pelvis tuck under just a little bit. Lengthen through the spine and then start to work that rotation, that little twist of belly, heart up to the right. Maybe let your head, your torso lean back a little more. Let your heart open. Breathe into that right lung, right rib cage. Get long there. Yes, and then slowly come back out to all fours. Woo, catch your breath here. Let's do a couple cat-cows. Inhale, pelvis tilts, heart lifts. Exhale, round. Let's do two more. Inhale. Exhale. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Back to neutral spine. Inhaling left arm into the sky. We're going to thread the needle here to start to open up the back of the heart. So as you extend that left arm underneath, you're coming to rest on your left temple. Your right hand can walk forward. Breathe into the back of the heart. Maybe roll more towards the back of the head. Really feel that left arm tucking underneath you. And there's a twist here. So that heart, navel are attempting to twist up towards the sky. Yeah, and then you can maybe extend your right leg back in a lunge leg. You could take your right leg off to the side if you've got the real estate. I don't know if you've got that today. And then let's work this connection of the body and the breath. So breathe into where you feel sensation the most. Breathe into that. It's like you're sending breath, prana into that. As you exhale, imagine it leaving. The tension, the constriction, the fear, the stress, the overwhelm. Every exhale we make to get today, we're breathing it out. We're leaving it here in the space. All right, on an inhale, slowly come out. This is such a bigger pose than you imagine, so take your time. Coming out, let your body adjust. You might take a cat-cow. Just let yourself really adjust and feel. When you're ready, when you're feeling you're ready for the other side, it'll be the right arm that extends up. And then we thread the right arm underneath the left. Your left hand could walk forward on the mat to get a longer sort of left side. Some people like to take that left hand into their right hip crease for more of a twist here. I'm curious about the back of your heart space right now. We're energetically trying to open up the back of the heart, which is where you receive in. You receive in love, energy, goodness. It gets really constricted back there. So can you get your right shoulder a little deeper underneath you? Maybe roll more towards the back of the head, which often creates a little more sensation around those scapulas. Yeah, and then you can decide if you want to take your left leg back or your left leg off to the side. Some of you are floating your left leg into the sky for more of a balance. Stay here. Breathe into where you're feeling this the most. Imagine that your exhale is carrying out the tension, the stress, the pockets of resistance. And then when you're on an inhale, let that inhale carry you back out. So you're back out to all fours. Inhale, pelvis tilts, heart lifts. As you exhale, this time round, come up into down dog. And let your dog be joyful. I don't know what that means, but let your dog play, be joyful. Shake it out. Bounce that pelvis. Work it. Yes. We all get so stuck in our bodies. Let's see what we can free up today. And if you feel grumpy about, clearing things out, it's working. It's working. So yeah, the tension, the grumpiness, the resistance, the irritability, it will all show up. So if it's already showing up, say, hello, welcome. I'm going to see what we can do to shift some of this. Take your feet wide and then really let your pelvis rock from side to side to side. And then keeping sort of this rocking action, start to walk your hands back towards your feet. So we arrive in a forward fold. The feet are a little bit wider. Let your head really go here. Yeah, you could buzz those lips. All right, bend your knees. Inhale, sweep your arms forward. Come all the way up. Exhale, hands down right in front of your heart. All right, release the hands, walk forward to the front of the mat. Actually, walk to the middle of your mat. I sort of want you in the middle of the mat, and then don't be right next to your neighbor. Take your arms out to the side. I want you to have space so that you don't hit anyone. Right out of the gate, we're going to work with breath of joy, because that's what we're working towards. We usually wait till later in the class, but I'm like, nope, we're going for it. All right, so let's do arms first so you know. Arms come forward, then they come out to the side. Now you'll know if you're going to hit anyone. Now take the arms all the way up and then ski jump. Arms come back. So it's forward, side, up, ski jump. All right, so then we add the breath. The thing that I see people get confused about most is that you take the full breath in on the first. It's 3 sharp inhales. So it's, right? So you can't get too overzealous with that first breath in or you don't have any space, right? So it's inhale, inhale, inhale. And then I really want to hear your ha, because this is big release. All right. We're going to try to do 10. All right. Nice soft knees. Shake it out a little bit. All right. Let's go for it. Three more. Last one. Really let this ha count. Yes. All right. Come up. Hansi Mudra. Thumb to the middle ring finger, or pointer middle ring. Pinky sticking out. If you feel dizzy, tuck your chin a little bit. That's a lot of energy we just moved. So pause, get your grounding, feel your body. Tends to be a lot more vitality and energy after breath of joy. So just feel into that. And now feel those feet really anchored down. With an inhale, sweep the arms up. With an exhale, fold forward. Now on an inhale, look up halfway. On an exhale, big ha as you fold. Again, inhale, look up. Exhale, big ha. Last one, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale. Now you're all in different places on your mat, so just work your way to downward facing dog. Feel those hands press down and those thighs anchor back. Inhale, stretch the right leg up into the sky. Bend that right knee and start to open your pelvis up to the right. So you're stretching your right foot over to the left. Hands stay really anchored down. Inhale, straighten the right leg and take the right foot through the hands into a deep lunge. So right foot forward into a deep lunge. Drop your back knee down to the mat. If you want a blanket under that knee, go for it. Rise up. We're just going to pause here and let the pelvis move forward and back. So if you have tight hip flexors, this often feels really good, feels really nice. If you don't have tight hip flexors, just think of it as bringing some flow into the pelvis. right, from here, inhale, arms up into the sky. Anjaneyasana, this is called. We work on rooting the pelvis down and then really lengthening up. And there is a little bit of a back bend here. So if it's okay for you, start to lift your gaze towards the sky and start to curl back through your upper back. Take a breath in. Exhale, we're going to stay here. Inhale. Now on this exhale, bring the hands together and pull your hands down in front of the heart. Stick your seat back. So stick your pelvis back and then start to twist, hooking your left elbow on the outside of the right knee. As you press those hands together, maybe feel a twisting of the heart, navel up towards the sky. And then if you feel like you'd like to work with more, you can lift your back knee away from the mat. You can also drop your left hand to the floor and extend your right arm up if you want to come into full twisted side angle. We'll take a nice breath in here. And on the exhale, release hands to the floor. Step your way back to down dog. Now we're going to come back through down dog over and over. It's the invitation here that you listen to your body. And if your body needs a child's pose, you never question it. Take it. There's no preferential pose. This is you honoring and listening to you. And so please, if you need to do something different, you always have permission. Your body should be the one who's guiding you, not me. All right, on an inhale, we roll forward into plank pose. And we pause to feel strength here. And then on the exhale, it's a flow back. So I always imagine as I inhale, it's like there's a wave under my belly, pulling me in towards shore. And then on the exhale, the tide goes back out. Inhale forward, and now on this exhale, come all the way down to your belly. Go wide with your feet. I know we're in close quarters today, but maybe take your hands off of your mat or take them a little wider. Come up. This is my favorite cobra variation just because it gives us space to move. Close your eyes so you just can drop into yourself. And as you let your spine move laterally side to side, notice where there's tension, where there's maybe intensity. Can you work that area a little more? Breathe into it. We actually do have some agency around releasing these patterns in our body. Now, I will say it's usually not permanent. Our body goes back into more of a contracted state. So that's why we have to keep practicing. But we certainly can feel so much better after a practice, which I know you all know. All right, as you inhale, lengthen up, really feel that lift of the heart. As you exhale, come all the way down. Pause your forehead on the mat for a moment. We're not going to stay long, but pause. Let your hands track back, right in alignment with your chest, palms flat on the floor. Now curl your toes under, and on an inhale, come back up through down dog. Down dog is so helpful at freeing up, creating more space up your spine. So as those hands press down and your legs move back, it's like you're opening, creating space between those vertebrae. Now on an inhale, extend the left leg up, bend the left knee, and open that left foot over to the right. Now as you do that, hands are pressing down and forward, and your right thigh, right femur, is anchoring back as much as it will go. And then inhale, left leg long, step left foot through hands. Lower back foot or back knee down, rise up. Hands to pelvis and just drop into some movements of the pelvis forward and back. Get fancy here too, and add some circles if you like that. You can twist a little bit here. Often this is just a really nice opener for hip flexors, which are traditionally quite tight. So as we started, we talked a little bit about Ananda being somewhat synonymous with lightness. So now as you inhale your arms up, can you feel some lightness come into the body? So yes, from your waist down, you're grounded. There's a stability from your waist down. Can you embody more lightness in your upper body? This might be some elongation of the spine. Maybe let your head lean back. Feel your heart open. Yeah, release that jawline. Let's breathe in here. Exhale, let's stay. Curl back maybe just a little more. We'll take another breath and then bring those hands down. Oh, we got to bring hands together. Sorry, hands together. Right elbow outside of the left knee. So that supine twist here as you press the palms together. I guess it's not supine, we're not on the floor, it's a twist here. So you press that elbow into the leg, lengthen first, and then feel navel heart start to twist up to the left. You could certainly lift your back knee across, away from the mat. That's helpful. You could drop right hand to the floor as long as you can keep that elbow hooked. Left arm up. Let's take an inhale to lengthen, exhale to release the pose, and then step forward to the front of the mat. Shake it out a little bit. Yes, let your torso shake out. Bend your knees, inhale, sweep your arms forward, come all the way up. Exhale, hands down in front of the heart. All right, release the hands. So we're gonna bounce. So you gotta close your eyes for this. You're like, this is stupid. So just, the only person people are watching online is me, most likely. So close the eyes and bounce. This actually is yoga. It comes from the Kundalini yoga tradition. It's called a Kriya. And they bounce for 15 minutes. So we're not going to have you bounce for 15 minutes. But I actually pretty regularly do this meditation, and it is amazing what the body wants to shake out, or how the body, if you stay here long enough, eventually shows you what it wants to shake and release. So we're only here for about a minute, and you might feel your resistance. You might be like, oh, this doesn't feel good. Just allow yourself to drop into it, open to it. Imagine that you are shaking off the stress of the last week, the last month. My eyes are closed, so I'm not even watching you. 5, keep shaking. 4, maybe get a little more intense. 3, 2. All right, 1. Pause and relative stillness. And again, feel yourself. Feel what's going on in your system. Notice the expansion of energy. You can feel it in yourself, perhaps. All right, sometimes shaking can unground us, so feel your feet rooted to the earth, and then with the breath in, sweep your arms up into the sky. As you exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. Big ah. Good. Step back into downward facing dog. All right, hang with me here. Inhale, right leg into the sky. As you exhale, round like a cat, knee to nose, hover. Inhale, straighten that right leg. Exhale, right knee to right elbow, hover, round up, pull that navel up to spine. Inhale, straighten the leg. Now you're gonna take it across the body towards the left elbow, little twist here. We inhale, straighten the leg again, and then step right foot through. Turn down the back foot, rise up. And straighten your legs to begin with, just to make sure you've got good heel to arch alignment. Inhale, arms up, shoulder height. Exhale, bend into the right knee. You guys feeling warm? Yeah, Saturday morning, it's cold out. Let's get ourselves going. Turn those palms towards the sky. Let your heart lift. Take a breath in. All right, feel both feet anchor down. Let yourself settle. There's a lot of lifting energy here. So let's just get ourselves settled. Inhale, exhale. And we're going to take it into a side angle. So right forearm drops down, and then this left arm comes up in alignment. So biceps in alignment with the ear. Again, watch your head. If your head is dropping down out of alignment, bring it back so your head is in alignment with your spine. Anchor your right foot down and feel that twisting, heart, navel, twisting up to the left as you keep grounding down your left foot. And then maybe come a little deeper into your front thigh. So that thigh is becoming more parallel to the floor. Breathe in, exhale, hands to the floor. Step back into down dog. All right, go into a child's pose if you'd like. Take a vinyasa if you like, where you flow forward to plank. Lower down, take a cobra or an up dog, whatever variation of heart opener you like. We're going to stay here for about 5 more breaths, so you can stay in down dog. You could take a child's pose and feel into what serves you most. Even if you're resting, or wherever you are, if you're in child's pose or down dog, see if you can feel into that lightness of being. Can you feel into some lightness of being? We tend to get really weighed down by life. It feels really heavy for everyone at various times, heavier than others. So just tapping into the remembrance that we actually can feel light. All right, when you're ready, you can join me in downward facing dog. All right, inhale, left leg into the sky. As we exhale, we hover knee to nose. Inhale, left leg straightens. Exhale, left knee to left elbow. Shoulders are over the wrist or a little forward. Inhale, straighten that left leg. Now we twist it, take it across the body towards the right elbow. Straighten that leg. And then step the foot through the hands. Turn down the back foot, rise up. And let your feet adjust. Get good heel to arch alignment. Left heel intersects the right arch. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bend into the left knee. Turn palms towards the sky. This helps open the heart space. You and Nick, you're inspiring me. Let's do Hansi Mudra here. Thumb comes to pointer middle ring, pinky finger out. So there's our gesture of the inner smile. Take a breath in, stay here. Inhale to lengthen, find lightness in upper body. Exhale, transition. You can keep Hansi Mudra here, even as we transition into side angle. Check in with your head. Make sure it's not dropping and somehow creating undue tension in the neck. As you ground your right foot down, tuck your left sit bone under a little more. And start to feel your torso twist. Lengthen out through that right arm. Bring a little inner smile into your system, whatever that means for you. Breathe in. And then exhale, we release hands either side. Beautiful of the front foot. And then step forward to Uttanasana. Pause here and forward fold. Again, just let yourself settle here. You could hold on to your elbow points. Let yourself draw in, ground in. And I'd like you to actually come up slowly this time. So you start by letting the pelvis tuck under and start to unfold very slowly. So you're coming up quite slow. Chin stays tucked. I'm eventually going to have you extend your arms out to the side. So you might need to, again, be very conscious of your neighbor. But I want you to feel this sensation of your wings spreading, right? We're starting to open. We're starting to lighten up. We're starting to step into more of our innate expansion, vitality, life force. And then eventually hands are above you as if you've taken in all of that life force around you, and then you pull hands down right in front of the heart. Then from here, Hansi Mudra again, thumb to pointer middle ring, pinky out to the side, drop your hands, and let's just take a moment to settle here. So again, I'd like you to feel your feet anchored into the earth. There's steadfastness in the base of the body, but there is some lightness in the upper body. Lightness around the heart, the shoulders, the neck, the head. Release the hands. Bring your fingers to your heart. We're going to tap. So if there's any energy channel in the body that's still a little shut down, we're going to open it here with some of this tapping. So you're just tapping right at the heart. And I encourage you, if you can keep your eyes closed, that'll keep you really anchored in. Unless that creates anxiety for you, then of course, keep them open. 172,000 energy channels in the body. So we're just sort of waking up some of these channels with our tapping. I would say they're pretty open at this point in their practice, but this is like our insurance policy here. Like, let's make sure we're really opening things. If you find spots that are especially tender, it usually means there's a little congestion there. So give those spots a little more love and attention. All right, from the heart, you can pat down one of your arms, palm faces the sky. And then you eventually flip that arm and pat up the back of the arm. Stay in the body, stay with all the sensation. This exercise really keeps you anchored in sensation. And sort of on the lookout for where you want more tapping, more opening. Go down the other arm if you haven't already done that. Pause at your hands, clap your hands together. Notice the emotions that come through, and then flip the arm, tap up the back of the arm. And then we're back in that heart. Just tap, 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 tap. And tap up through the throat, back of the neck. Tilt the chin forward a little bit. Really bring some attention to where the neck meets the skull. That's often a place where we collect constriction and tightness. You might tap on the crown of the head. Eventually tapping around to the face, the forehead, a little more gentle tapping on the face. Open your mouth, get into the tightness of that jaw. Then you're moving back to the heart. Notice we spend a lot of time here. Heart energetically is where our human self meets our divine self. So this is the place of the meetup. Then take your hands around to back. Now you can tap or pat a little more. So kidney regions, eventually get into the buttocks, the hips. Go for it. All right, back to the heart eventually, really light taps. And then we drop hands back into Hansi Mudra, gesture of the inner smile. We take a moment just to feel. The path of yoga is designed to help your container hold more prana. So all of these practices are so you can actually hold more vitality and energy. We want to learn to hold the energy instead of dump it away. And we all have these energy leaks, right? People, foods, whatever it is that sucks it out of us. And so just take a moment to let yourself stand in all of this prana. Right. We have one more breath of joy to work through. So find a spot again where you're not going to take anyone out. You guys are gonna walk out of here so buzzed today. No one's gonna need coffee after this. Let your knees bend just a little bit. Remember, 3 sharp inhales, big ha. All right, let's go. You guys really mean this. I love it. Keep moving. Yes. Let that ha be a big release. One more here. Make it count. Yes. Come up. Hands in front of the heart. Get yourself grounded, feet down, pelvis tucks under, chin tucks a little bit. Then heel toe your feet apart so they come all the way towards the edges of the mat. Turn your toes out. Sink down through Malasana or squat pose. Heavy pelvis. If this is really hard on your knees, don't do it. It just doesn't feel good in your body. If you're okay here, press your palms together. Let your legs really hug in towards your upper arms, lengthen up. So we've been raising the energy. We've been finding that lightness. Now I'm just trying to help you ground it a little bit. Eventually, we can come all the way back. We're gonna extend our legs nice and long. Let those knees bounce just a little bit. Bend the knees this time and hold on to the backs of the legs. Lean back just a little bit and then let your legs float up. Your shins are parallel to the floor. Arms can come out to the side if you like, but I always say you don't have to commit. You can always bring hands back to the backs of the thighs if that's helpful for you. You can also extend your legs long and straight. This is called boat pose. Keep lifting that heart up. Take a breath, and then I want you to feel relief as you release it. So cross your ankles. Hug your arms around your legs. Really bow in for a moment. And then come up and out. Lengthen up and out. Sit nice and tall. And straighten legs. Move your heels all the way up towards the front edge of the mat. Before you come down onto your back, I want you to make sure you've got a block that you can reach. Just make sure you've got a block nearby. And then arms up parallel to the floor. Turn your palms towards the sky. Tuck your chin and start to roll back. Take your sweet time here. So you're really moving nice and slow. Keep your legs engaged. Keep your toes spread. You're coming down nice and slow. And once you, take a moment, just a little mini. We're going to get to a longer Shavasana, but take a moment here just to let yourself pause. And then let your knees come in towards your chest and rock a little side to side. Yeah, and if happy baby is calling to you, you could certainly grab for the edges of your feet. Right, and then release your feet to the floor. So knees will be bent, feet on the floor, hip distance width apart. Take your arms back behind you to make sure you don't run into a wall or someone's feet. And if so, you can come forward on your mat a little bit. And then arms come back down to the side. In a moment, we're going to move dynamically in and out of bridge pose. Bridge pose is really thought to be one of those extreme mood elevating poses. So especially in the winter months, I like to almost universally teach bridge in most of my classes because it's so good at lifting us. So first get your feet set. And the real key with this, I want you to be very conscious of this, is that too often people turn their toes out when they come up into bridge. It's not great for your low back. So just tune into your feet. Feet can have some distance between them, so they're not necessarily touching right now, hip distance width apart, but they're not toeing out. Feet are parallel. All right, keeping your feet like that. On an inhale, lift your pelvis up and float your arms up overhead behind you. Hold that breath in. Let your breath hold in for a moment. And then when you're ready to exhale, I'm watching all your feet. People are like, I want to turn them out. You guys are doing a good job. Come all the way down. And then you're going to keep going at your breath pace. So as you inhale, hips lift, arms float up overhead. As you exhale, you come down. So by the way, keep going as you move in and out of the bridge. This pose is so good at releasing abdominal stress. We hold a lot of stress in our bellies. This pose also often gives us sort of a boost of energy that can definitely carry with you today. Not as if we haven't lifted a lot of energy today, but this pose definitely adds to that. And then this pose is also thought to stimulate your thyroid. So it helps move energy from your lower spine. So if you get congested in your low back, it moves energy into your upper spine. Maybe you can feel all these things as I'm describing it. Now, the next time you're up, I'd like you to stay up. So you're holding bridge pose. Make sure you don't turn your head from side to side, but now you can really move your shoulders underneath you. Some of you might be able to so make sure let's bring arms back down. And now you might be able to interlace those fingers underneath you. Maybe walk your shoulders side to side to ensure that they're really hugged underneath you. Sensation is going to build in the body for sure here. Usually you feel it in thighs, hips. See if you can stay with that sensation. It's not harming you, and you're practicing how to stay in a place of sort of quiet inner equanimity, even as the body gets real energized and sort of fiery here. So I'd like you to stay for 3 more breaths. As you exhale, feel some things release. Inhale, maybe pelvis lifts just a little higher. Yeah, use that Ujjayi breath to really help stabilize mind. And then on the 3rd exhale is when you come down and watch sensation. Watch how there is relief. There's maybe even a little bliss that comes in when you're like, ah, I'm done. Let your hands come to your abdomen, one of your wisdom centers here in the body. We talked about that last week. And just let yourself pause and feel. Going to move into bridge again, but this time it's a supported bridge. So that's where that block is going to come in handy. So check in with your feet. You guys are so good with your feet. Feet are parallel. Lift the pelvis up, slide that block under, right underneath the sacrum. You can choose any level of the block. But with the support of the block underneath you, now really make sure that heart is open. So those shoulders are really deeply underneath you. There's a big lift of the heart. Let your head descend down. And then there's so many variations you can work with here. You can stay in supported bridge pose. You can lift your legs into the sky.
Good. Walk your feet forward and have straight legs. Just a little more of a heart opener. You could open knees out to the side in a
Supta Baddha Konasana variation. Wherever you are, move into a space that feels good. Right? Like if something doesn't feel good or it's not, there's somewhere else you could land which would feel better. See if you can, move somewhere in your body where you're like, ah, this feels actually really good. I think it's really important work that we train ourselves to feel good. Right? It's so easy to get pulled into victim consciousness, to get pulled into what's wrong. And so this is like sort of training ground for giving ourselves permission to feel good, even if it's just during 1 hour of the day. But it's a really helpful, important practice. So wherever you are, most of you still have a block under your sacrum. When you're ready, you'll release your feet to the floor, release that block. And then before Shavasana, I'd like you to pause for a minute or two in Supta Baddha Konasana. This is sort of like a final big opener for the pelvis and the heart. So soles of the feet together, knees out to the side, open heart. Yeah, adjust if you need to on the mat. Hands can rest on your belly, your rib cage. They could be down at the side of the body. Could be in Hansi Mudra, that gesture of the inner smile. For the next minute, staying in that body, staying with the sensation, staying with the breath. So you're still working with the breath, that ha sound in the back of the throat. It's much more subtle now, right? It's not as intense as when you were maybe holding warrior two, but it's still there for you. Then when you're ready to transition, this actually, you might love it here. If this feels really good, stay. Don't overthink it. But if you want to transition into Shavasana and straighten your legs, you all have so many beautiful props around you. You could put a bolster under your knees. You could cover with a blanket. If your head still feels really busy, I like to always just make a hood, like put a blanket around my head. And if there's anything you don't have that I could bring you, if you catch my eye, happy to be of service here. Like an eye bath. If you have one hand on your belly, I'll bring you one. It's really bright in here. So. go of the breaths, let go of the practice. Let go of any need to figure anything out. Just rest in openness. Sat Chit Ananda, eternal remembrance of bliss, Ananda. So I encourage you just to stay still. You're in a very receptive space. So I'd like to share a beautiful quote by the mythologist Joseph Campbell, who of course studied all the world religions, traditions, fairy tales. And he also tapped into the importance of bliss. He wrote, "Follow your bliss. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you. And the life you ought to be living is the one you are living. When you can see that, you begin to meet people who are in the field of your bliss, and they open the doors to you. I say, follow your bliss and don't be afraid. Doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. If you follow your bliss, doors will open for you that wouldn't have opened for anyone else. Just like a little bit of movement come into your body slowly. And start to stretch and move in whatever way feels good. And roll off through one side when you're ready. Come back up to your seat. Put your hands in front of the heart. Take a moment to feel where you're at. Follow your bliss. Namaste. Everyone for being here today. A beautiful, energetic class. Thanks for sharing and co-creating it with me. So thanks for being here. Thanks everyone at home too for being here. You support the practice as well. All right, have a really great Saturday. Okay, one last thing that I want to just mention. Super normal after we create all kinds of expansion in the body that you dump it somehow. Like you eat a big fat chocolate, something that just like, so I'm not saying not to do that, but I'm just saying, watch your desire to be like, whoa, I feel really good. I need to do something to numb myself out a little bit. So this does happen. So if you can hold the prana and the life force, see what that's like. Okay. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks, Barbara, Carol, Jennifer, Alina, Bobby, Bliss Buzz. Yes. Margaret, Jennifer, Jess, Jenny. Great to see all your names on here. Thanks for hanging out in the Bliss space with us today. I hope you all are well. Love to see your names. Amy, good to see you on this morning. All right. Love to all of you.